Hello then, I hope you are doing well. Here's a quick guide going over the mechanics of each encounter within the Sundered Doctrine dungeon. I'll first explain the objective, followed by the mechanics and the strategies, and then a summary. Timestamps are in the description below. First, make sure to pick up a dungeon quest from Ikora, and then you can launch the dungeon from the top left of the throne world next to the Vow raid. Once you spawn in, run straight forward off the edge and proceed to the back of the area around the corner to the left, where you will find a bridge. At the end of the bridge, on the left side will be a waterfall, and behind it will be an entrance. Just follow the wall until you can take a right turn. Follow the tunnel until you reach this large room, which will have a bunch of adds including subjugators. Kill them all to reveal a hidden entrance around the corner to the left of the last subjugator that you killed. Just fall down the hall until you reach the bottom and follow the tunnel into another large room filled with more adds. Yet again, clear them all out, and this will open another entrance that will be hidden behind a small waterfall located on the right side by the dead subjugator. Once you fall down, follow it to the left side where there is a grate for you to fall down into. You are now at the first encounter. If you turn around when you drop down, you can enter a room filled with symbols from the Vow of the Disciple raid. Now, these symbols in the dungeon are all from the Vow of the Disciple raid, and you will be using them throughout. Here's a template showing the official callouts of the symbols, which you can screenshot and use as a refresher. Any of them can be used in the dungeon. Now for the first encounter. The objective here is to rotate the lenses in the middle to direct beams of orange light through hallways that lead to the correct room. The beams of light need to be directed using lenses that can be collected from dead subjugators and then placed on these contraptions. The beam of light needs to hit a wheel that can be found in each room. You will need to do this 3 times. This will allow you to proceed forward into the next area. Now for the explanation. For reference point, we will call this the main room where you can see the beams of light. Now there are 4 other rooms, 2 on the left and 2 on the right, which we will label L1 and L2, and R1 and R2. You will start the encounter by rotating the first beam of light onto the wheel in the main room. From here, rotate clockwise or counterclockwise through every room. You don't have to kill all the adds in all the rooms, as they will be continuously respawning. What you are looking for is a Grim that is called a Truth Speaker. When you kill this Grim, it will drop one of the Vow symbols on the ground, which you need to memorize. That symbol will be on one of the wheels within one of the 4 rooms, so simply run into each of the rooms until you locate the symbol that you found on the Grim. In this example, our symbol was drink. So now that we know what the correct room is, we have to position the light so it shines on the wheel. Whilst traveling through the rooms, each room on one side is linked together by a corridor in between them. Once you have the correct room, go back to the middle. The beams of light in the middle of the room have small arrows on the bottom which tell you the direction the beam can be angled towards, same as on the lenses. Shoot the crystal above them to activate the beam, and then rotate them to angle a beam towards the correct room. Now the beam won't go all the way there, which is why you need to collect lenses. These lenses are dropped by subjugators and can be collected from any of them. It is also why all the adds keep respawning, so you can collect as many as you need. Kill a subjugator and collect the lens, which will be stored on your back. Then go to the closest position of the beam and place it down. You can put the lenses anywhere along the path of light, but it is easier going from the first one if you don't know all the locations. You will then need to rotate it so that it points towards the next lens location. Keep doing this until the beam hits the wheel in the room. Just be careful when placing the lenses, because standing in the beam does damage to you over time. Once you have done this, then round 1 is complete. You need to do this 2 more times for a total of 3 rounds, except that you need to do an extra beam for each round. So round 1 you do 1 beam, for round 2 you need 2, and then for the 3rd round you will need to have 3 beams going into 3 different rooms. If you send the beam into the incorrect room, then a tormentor will spawn in the middle in the main room. This really shouldn't happen, as you can check inside the areas multiple times to make sure it is the correct one before fully sending the beam in. So it is rinse and repeat. Using the 2nd round as an example, here's a summary. Find the Truth Speaker, which will drop a symbol. Locate the correct room that has the symbol, and then position one of the beams of light in the main room to shine into the correct one. Kill the subjugators for the lenses, which you then need to position into the room to direct the beam of light onto the wheel inside. Then go and kill another Truth Speaker and do it again until 2 beams of light are shining into the rooms. Then for the 3rd round you will kill all 3 speakers in total, 1 at a time, doing 1 beam at a time. Unfortunately, the lenses do not stay for each of the rounds, so you will have to reacquire them from the subjugators. Once done, collect your chest and proceed through the doorway. Once you are on the stairs, just drop straight down to the very bottom of the area. On the left will be a hole, and then through that go to the right side. Follow the corridor all the way through to the end where you will take 2 right turns until you reach this hole at the back. Once you reach the altered convolution, there is a hidden chest for you to unlock. Within this maze there are 3 resonant crystals which can spawn randomly throughout the maze. Unfortunately, I do not know all the spawn locations, but the tunnels are well connected. So just travel through them until you find 3 resonant crystals and destroy them. Make sure that when you go through these tunnels that you look up whenever you reach a high ceiling, as there may be another tunnel above you. Once done, the chest will spawn in the large area of the tunnels where there seems to be a swamp water on the ground. From there, turn around and go towards the large square on the wall. Near it to the left is a tunnel. There you will find a red light. Just jump up and follow that red light to the next section. You will be in a large room filled with ads. You can kill them all or run straight to the end area where there is a sequence of bridges. One of the doorways will have a green light to the left, so run through that and into the next tunnel. In that tunnel, the second opening on the left will contain a hole at the back. Jump into it and be careful because at the end there is a chasm, so either try to stop yourself or jump across. Follow the chasm to the right, and below where you are walking on the left will be the entrance. From this section you will need to jump from left to right, avoiding the spiking balls that are tumbling down towards you. Halfway up the ramp there is a hole for you to jump down into to escape. Go all the way down and follow the tunnel to the next section of spiky balls that will be coming in from the sides. Make your way through to the far side where you will reach this next area. When you reach this room with 2 beams of light and 2 wheels, you will need to complete an in-between encounter that will teach you a new mechanic. The objective here is to open the door by changing the symbols on the wheel to match those of the door. At the end of the hallway you will see a closed door that has 2 symbols, one on either side of it. In our case it is grief and pyramid. There are 2 symbols you need to illuminate on the wheels in the main room. Each wheel will have 7 symbols and one of them will be illuminated. You need to rotate the illumination onto the correct symbol that corresponds with one on the door. Do this for both wheels. In order to do this, you need to kill a hive wizard which will drop a piece of resonance on the ground. Picking it up gives you heightened knowledge, and it is the same concept as the opening to the Vow raid. You can only have a max of 3 at a time. Picking up 1 gives you heightened knowledge, 2 gives you brimming knowledge, and 3 gives you overwhelming knowledge. Banking the resonance into the podium below the wheel will move a glow based on the number of resonance banked. So if you bank 1, it moves by 1 symbol, and 2 pieces of resonance moves a glow by 2 symbols. So it is like the activities from the Pale Heart where you use the taken scions to collect charges and rotate the hand of the clock. There is a line in the middle of the wheel that rotates either clockwise or counterclockwise. Shoot the little crystal above the wheel to change the direction it is going in. So kill the wizards and bank the resonance until the glow is on the correct symbol on both wheels to open the door. You are now in a second encounter. The objective here is to create symbols on 4 billboards, one in the front of each shrieker. The symbols determine what happens during the damage phase of the encounter. One of the symbols always has to be the kill symbol in order to start the DPS phase. Before we start the encounter, we will label the shriekers from 1 to 4. Number 1 will start far right, and number 4 will be far left, because that is the order in which the shriekers open up, which I will explain in just a moment. The billboards in front of the shriekers will be labeled the same way. Now comes the encounter mechanic, which is what we learned in a previous in-between encounter. You will need to move a glow on the wheel by using resonance that you collected from dead wizards. Remember, they stack to a max of 3. This time though, you get to choose what symbols you want to put onto the billboards in front of the shriekers. Each symbol has an effect when activated. The commune symbol launches bees towards you that can be destroyed. Stop prevents additional ads from spawning in. Hive spawns in mini-boss ogres. Knowledge spawns knights and wizards, and kill starts the DPS phase. Now there is a buff timer at the top of your screen called Lockset Progression. Every 25% of the bar, each wheel will be scanned by the shriekers, and whatever buff that is highlighted will be initiated by the game. So if one wheel has hive and another wheel has knowledge, then the game will spawn ogres, wizards, and knights. On the last 75% of the bar, the far right wheel labeled as number 1 will have the highlighted symbol locked in automatically. Therefore, if you want that symbol to be changed, you need to change the highlighted symbol before the lock buff is complete. So what you are aiming to do is complete the first Shrieker's billboard before the Lockset progression hits 75. Then you wait. Every time the Lockset progression bar reaches 100, every wheel symbol rotates by 1. apart from the one that is waiting to be locked in. So even if you have a symbol on the board, the game will rotate the wheel's remaining symbols by one but will leave the boards unchanged. So in practice, every 25% of the bar, get ready for the game to throw any of the symbol effects into the area. So check the wheel's symbols and see which one is illuminated. If you like the symbol, then leave it and move on to the next wheel. Otherwise, get the required resonance that you need. Every wizard drops 1. Make sure the arrow is rotating in the correct direction, and if it isn't, shoot the crystal above to rotate it in the opposite way. Bank the resonance anytime before the 75% marker on the Lockset Progression Buff at the top of your screen, and then wait for that buff to refresh back to 0 before doing the same thing for the second wheel, and so on. In that time, the shrieker that is linked to the billboard will look at the wheel and then it will print that symbol onto the billboard. Once on the billboard, it won't change. In terms of chosen symbols, make sure that kill is the last symbol on the 4th shrieker, as this will start damage. The symbols that we used were knowledge, stop, stop, and kill. The reason was to spawn additional adds to help get heavy ammo, and then the stops were to help control the additional spawns. Now the kill symbol starts DPS, however you do not need it on the 4th shrieker. If you want, you can put it on the 3rd shrieker and go into DPS with 3 symbols. The more billboards you use, the longer the damage phase lasts for. In terms of strategy, it is much easier when one person is in charge of collecting the resonance and the other 2 provide cover fire. This way you can keep track of how much resonance you have and will require less communication. This will also allow you to coordinate with your teammates if one person picks up too many or mistimes it and the symbol positioning changes on the wheels. Once ready, put in the kill symbol and be patient, because sometimes Sauron likes to take its time choosing. When it comes to damage, it doesn't matter what eye you shoot, as all 4 contribute to the overall health. For weapons, linears are the best for this season, not only for range but also for some of the artifact mods like particle deconstruction, which will increase damage. Sleepers hit hard, and Queenbreaker for now does good damage too. During damage, sometimes some adds will spawn in to harass you, so you can try to deal with them or freeze them to delay their disruptions. The shriekers won't always stay open, so when this happens, just move on to a different shrieker to damage it. We used Sleepers in Anarchy as it seems to be doing a lot of damage to the shriekers, especially when you chain all 4 of them together. When damage is over, it is just rinse and repeat. So to summarize, you are doing the symbols from right to left. Starting from the top right wheel, look at what symbol is highlighted and decide which one you want. Then go and kill the number of wizards you need for the resonance. At the wheel, shoot the crystal if needed to change the direction of where the glow will rotate and bank the resonance into the podium. This will cause Sauron to look at the wheel, and then the illuminated symbol will be printed on the billboard. Remember that if you do not like the chosen highlighted symbol, you will need to change it using the resonance before the Lockset Progression bar hits 75%. Do this 4 times with each billboard, making sure the last symbol is killed to start DPS. Once it is over, collect your chest, and to open the door to proceed further into the dungeon, you will need to play a minigame with the boss's corpse. It's the same activity as in the Pale Heart. Using a dead eye of Sauron, push it or shoot it towards the front of a room. From there, aim to get it up the stairs and onto the bridge, where you want to roll it into the crater by the door, and make sure it travels slowly so the crater catches it. Once through the door, drop even further down into the dungeon, and at the bottom you are looking for a doorway with a white light emanating from it. Once inside, turn right and then just follow the red lights, which will lead you to some enemies. At this point, just kill the enemies as they will lead you to the correct location. Once in this large room with a Grim, you can stay to kill them or rotate to the back of a room where a worm skeleton is resting. Just go through the worm's dead body and pretend it is a tunnel. Here will be another in-between encounter where you need to angle the light to open the door using the same concept as the first encounter. There is also a second hidden chest on the top right in the mouth of the worm. You can use a bridge and pillars around it to jump up onto the mouth to get the chest. Now for the little encounter. There are 2 doors where you need to connect the lights to, Worm and Enter. There are 2 beams, one for Worm and one for Enter. There are also 2 lenses stuck in some hive gunk, so shoot them and collect them, then place them in front of each of the beams. From here, there isn't any right way to do it. Just rotate each of the lenses until the beams reach their locations. The beams cannot touch the same lenses, so if they do, just rotate one of the beams to a different location and find a different route. There are plenty of lenses to be used. This will open a door that leads to a large room filled with adds. Clear them out, and then you will be taught another mechanic that is used in the boss room. In order to open some doors, you will need to shoot them. Fusion rifles, auto rifles and SMGs work well. Just empty the whole clip into the door to fully open it and then run through, but make sure it is fully open, otherwise you will be squashed. On the other side, make your way up the worm's corpse until you reach the top, where you need to jump across and run alongside the many species of aliens that have been frozen in carbonite. You are now in the boss room. The objective here is to find the symbol held by the truth speaker and then highlight the symbols on the wheel at the back of a room. Except this time, whatever symbol you acquired, you do the opposite symbols on the face of the wheel. I know that may be a little bit confusing, but there are two ways to go about it, which I will explain. To begin with, there are 3 separate rooms. We shall call them left room, right room and basement. They also have their own way to get into them. In order to access the left room, you need to shoot the door on the left to open it, to get inside and shoot it all the way open to leave. In order to access a right side room, you need to stand on this whitish rock to open it up and go inside. From there, along the left side wall will be some red lights that mark the exit. Meanwhile, the basement at the back has some stairs leading down into them. Now onto the mechanics, and there are 2 ways of doing it. Similar like with the first encounter, we will call this room the main room. In one of the 3 rooms, there will be a truth speaker. Just like before, it will drop a symbol. Once it does, go back to the wheel and check where it is located. In this case, our symbol is Hive, and it is located on the right side. Because of this, we do the opposite. We need to activate 3 symbols on the other side. So in this case, it is Guardian, Kill, Traveler. Now the second method you can use is your knowledge of the game. Let us use this wheel as an example. You do not need to find the truth speaker. If you read the symbols from top to bottom on each side, they will form a sentence that is either true or false. For example, on the right is Hive worship darkness, which makes a sentence, the Hive worship the darkness. This is a true statement. If you look on the left, it says Guardian kill Traveler, which isn't correct because the Guardians do not kill the Traveler. Based on this knowledge, we know that the left is false and that the right is true. Therefore, the left false information needs to be activated in order to stop the damage phase, and the right needs to be deactivated. Using another wheel as an example, we can see that it says on the left that the Hive stop witness, which isn't true. On the right it says the Guardian worship light, which is true. As Guardians, we do worship the light from the Traveler. So for this wheel, the left side is false and needs to be activated, whilst the truth needs to be deactivated. Now, how do you illuminate the correct symbols on the wheel? Instead of resonance like in a previous encounter, you will be using the lenses to shine light on the symbols like in the first encounter. Here is a template showing the spawning locations of the symbols. Now the lenses are blocked by strand. In order to remove the blockers so you can use the lens, you will need to kill weavers. When you first enter a room, kill the subjugator as it won't respawn until the damage phase is done. Then you need to kill a weaver, which will give you a buff called Unwritten Empowerment that lasts for 7 seconds. Using this time, shoot the 3 blockers on the lens. If you run out of time, kill another weaver and continue on. Once the blockers are gone, you can then angle the lens. Now you may need to activate some symbols and deactivate others. So we do not need the Hive symbol, so I am rotating the lens to shut it off. Each time you do that, it will say a wheel darkens and that the pyramid responds to it in the bottom left side. But we do not have a Guardian, and it just so happens to be next to Hive, so I rotated the wheel to Guardian to illuminate it, which gives the message a wheel hums to life, the pyramid responds to it. At any given time, you can go back to the wheel in the main room and check your progress. So as you can see, the left side is activated, which is what we need, and the right side symbols have been deactivated. Once you are ready, start the podium by the boss and then run away to find some cover. There will be a wipe mechanic that will start a few seconds later, and it is exactly like the Kingsfall War Priest encounter. Just find a solid piece of cover and either stand or crouch behind it to not get killed. The mechanic takes away the boss's shield, and once it is fully taken away, you can do damage to the boss. In a way, the wipe mechanic is like cleansing the false statement on the wheel. Now in terms of strategy, the boss loves to tie you up using strand, so run a strand resist and also stasis or solar if you have room. 1 well with 1 divinity and 2 Queenbreaker linear rifles can 2-phase to 3-phase the boss. There will be ads spawning in, so if you're using the ledges on the left side, you can block most of the attacks, including the bosses by using the high ground. Now be careful, as near the end of a damage phase another wipe mechanic will start, which is why you want to be near cover. When taking cover you can still damage a boss until the wipe is over, at which point the boss regains the shield. Then it is just rinse and repeat. So to summarize, either look at the wheel and work out the very simple statements, or run through all the rooms and find the Grim, which will probably kill anyway along the way. From there, you need to activate the opposite symbols from the symbol of the Grim, or the false statement. Make sure that any symbols on the wrong side are deactivated. To use the lenses, go into the designated rooms and kill the subjugators to make it easier. Then locate the correct lens, kill a Weaver to get the unwritten buff, and destroy the blockers. Do this until you have 3 correct symbols illuminated on the wheel. Then start the podium and find a piece of cover, preferably near the rally flag area. Then it is damage until you kill the boss. And there you have it, that's how you complete the Sundered Doctrine dungeon. If you have found the guide to be helpful, then please like, share and post a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more Destiny 2 guides. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.